Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Realm of Ori. In this video, we will continue with Volume 12, Prologue, Clowns on the Run, Part 1. And before we start, this video contains spoilers from the anime and manga series. And by the way guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Yuuki Kagurazaka as a genius. In his original world, he already had a special power. The mental force is called psychokinesis, a superpower, one he gave birth to. However, he never intended to use this power. Because he knew that if others discovered his power, he would become a spectacle. Despite the monotony of daily life, he seemed to enjoy himself. He has a loving parent and many friends. It was easy for him to make money. As much as he wanted it, he got nothing. He was not satisfied. One fateful day, however, tragedy ensued. When he was just starting middle school, both of Yuki's parents died in a car accident. It was not the fault of his parents. Kagurazaka's car was struck by a truck driver who was sleeping behind the wheel. Only Yuki, who was sleeping in the backseat, survived. Yuki found this incredibly unfair. He hates the guilty driver, but he can do nothing about it. Japan is a country of law and order, and personal revenge is against the law. When the verdict of the trial came, he realized various things. He realized the incompetence of the transportation company, as they contracted the work under unreasonable conditions. They put all the pressure on their field workers, and these workers had to stay employed despite overwork. The driver was also victimized in a sense. Then the mistake will fall on the transportation company, but that's also not true. If they reject the request from their important clients, they will not order from them in the future. One does not simply reject the requests of an old client. In that case, they will need to improve the management of their business, but hiring skilled drivers is also not easy. Although the company wants to take young talents and train them, their circumstances so far do not allow them to save effort. Yuki couldn't help but exclaim. There are many unfair things in this world, yet his hands are bound. At the end of the day, sin lies in the wrong structures of society. He wants revenge on this society. But Yuki did nothing. He was a genius, but quickly realized his limit. This world is highly developed. Even with his superpower, it's not enough to make an impact. He had no chance of winning against an army. And even if he could, there was no future for him if he did. Yuki also thought about destroying society and rebuilding it from the ground up, but it will bring many into misery. He can't do such a thing. If he really wanted to change society as a whole, he had to do it gradually, slowly increasing the number of like-minded companions. Only when he becomes a politician will he be able to shape this country in his image. This is the only solution within his reach. But walking this path will require patience. It is a feasible goal, he has to work hard, but it will take several decades. Yuki was torn, but before he could conclude, he found himself in the other world. Yuki is called by the demon lord Kazaream and his deep resentment. He lost his physical body and became purely spiritual instead. But he did not lose power as the cursed lord. He spent a long time preparing for his resurrection. To see it in fruition, he made a calling to a body compatible with his spiritual body. Naturally, he had to make sure the person he was calling was carefully restrained. No wrong steps were allowed in this ritual, so as a precaution, he used his power of dominance to carve a curse before being summoned. First, he will crush the mind of the one he wants to summon, before the target knows what hit it. Next, Kazaream will remove the strength of its soul and retrieve its body to revive itself. That became the whole of his plan. Kazaream didn't record only one thing, the person he called Yuki. The curse has proven ineffective. With his genius, Yuki already understood the rules of this world. When he crossed the worlds, he got the power he wanted, the power to change the world. It is the power of the soul, a pure form of energy that can freely adapt to its nature. Its name is unique skill, creator. When he tells Rimuru that he doesn't have any special ability, he lies down naturally while breathing. His first act of creation, using his skill, was to create the ability to lose evil intentions against himself, anti-skill. At that moment, Kazaream's scheme was broken. He even lost to Yuki, he became a servant in the process. On the other hand, Yuki discovers his raison d'être in this world. It is a world where the strong trample on the weak. It is built on an imperfect system that will have a long way to go until it is fully built. And so, Yuki thought that if he could be the ruler of this world, then he would lead this world in the right direction. Yuki is determined to challenge this unfair world. His next step is to fight against this very world. Conquest of the world, Yuki began to move towards his goal. Yuki, accompanied by Laplace, Footman, and Terre, escapes from the chaos they bring out of the church. Their first priority was to escape from the Holy Empire of Lubelius. While it's tempting to hang out a little further to watch the excitement unfold, it's not worth the risk. The raging hero Chronoa isn't a force to be taken lightly, and she's certainly not someone Yuki can control. She shows up recklessly. Everyone is her enemy. She is a truly terrifying force. Granbell must have known this when he asked to work with Yuki. It was a tough pill for him to swallow, but Yuki had to admit that he was easily outsmarted this time. "Ain't we the biggest losers here?" Laplace complained. "All that work distracting Demon Lord Luminos to get an opening, and we were this close to getting the ultimate weapon, the hero, that one's on a whole other level. It's a shame we let it go, but everyone who took that thing on has gotta be dead by now." Footman has a point, but Yuki is far from convinced about the latter. The hero could not easily send everyone there, he thought. "We can't guarantee that, though," Laplace remarked. "No matter how you put it, Demon Lord Rimuru is stupidly powerful. Plus, Luminos and Leon were there too. With 3 demon lords and several powerful Majins, both sides had equal chances of winning." "You have a point. Granbell is an ex-hero, so he's also pretty strong. I wouldn't bet on who won out in the end there," Ter added. Those two were not as optimistic as Footman. Like Yuki, they thought Rimuru and his entourage had a chance to win against Chronoa. For Yuki, winning Chronoa was the best possible outcome. If that's the case, he can not only eliminate the nuisance Rimuru and hindering Granbell, but also the future threats, which are to Luminos and Leon, who are hated by clowns. All of these threats will disappear, and it will essentially put control of the entire West in Yuki's hands. The remaining wild card will be Chronoa, which is a tough deal. But considering that she is unconscious, there was nothing to fear. By using a couple of monsters as bait, they will lure him to some far corner of the desert anyway. Raw strength alone wasn't enough to pose a threat to Yuki's eyes. That's why he wants to stay behind and watch the battle play out. Actually, running away is the right choice. If we got caught in the crossfire, we'd be taking a lot of hits. Besides, I had an ominous feeling. Yuki's instinct kicked in. To make plans for the future, he needs to study this chaotic battle. Although he wanted to stay, Yuki chose to trust his instinct and fled with the troops. If Chronoa is defeated, the surviving demon lords will surely consider that they are thorns in their side. Rimuru seems to have noticed Yuki's infidelity. He can no longer make excuses. The territories and reputations he had built up in the West would be wasted because of this blunder. He was the only one to blame for falling into Granbell's trap. He was merely reaping what he'd sown. This is why he chose to flee as soon as possible. He could no longer hesitate. One of Yuki's strengths was that he was decisive. He ended it with countless challenges to his judgment. This time is the same, Yuki thought to himself. But not a moment too soon, his naive plan hit a brick wall. It happened in an instant. As Yuki and his entourage were about to escape, a man suddenly stood in front of them. Beside him was an eye-catching, blue-haired beauty, wearing a rather out-of-place crimson-made uniform. "Who are you?" Yuki stopped, sensing danger. The man didn't respond to Laplace's question. He was staring straight at Yuki, ignoring everyone else. "If you insist on getting in our way," Footman, who was standing in front, went to attack the man and woman. Instead, a figure suddenly appeared and pinned Footman to the ground with one hand. It was another woman, wearing the same crimson-made uniform as the blue-haired one. This one though had green hair. Needless to say, it was Misery, who had been busy sabotaging the Ingratia kingdom until just a few hours ago. Due to Testarosa's interference, she had to stop her meddling, and quickly came here thereafter. Since Misery had come, it obviously followed that the blue-haired beauty was Rain. Both of them were accompanying the one and only demon lord, Guy Crimson. Known as the Lord of Darkness, he was the strongest of the demon lords.